What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas, and this is our Sacred Sunday show, and it's the first Sacred Sunday show of our new season of the Awakening World. Of course, I definitely want to welcome all of the people in our Zoom room, some of our closest friends and family. Thank you for being with us. And as always, let us know where you are geographically. And especially, I want to welcome those of you watching on Unify, where we get people from all over the world. So, definitely for all of our Unify friends, likewise, let us know where you are geographically. I'll be checking on my other device and I'll let people know that. We're going to make the awakening world this summer season. Summer for those of us in the northern hemisphere, winter for those of us or those of you that are down under, because we have a lot of friends in Australia, New Zealand, South America. Much more interactive. We're going to have much more connection with our audience. And we started that last night and it was really wonderful. So join us. And if you are watching on Facebook, or on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, you can come on into our Zoom room and it's easier for us to interact with you that way. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, and register. And you will get the links for the next 3 months. We do 3 shows every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. We take a topic, we take a theme, and we explore it. And this morning's theme, because it's the start of a new season, summer for some, winter for some, awakening world for my Global Peace Tribe, we're to explore how do we expand our spiritual connection? How do we create a greater spiritual practice, a greater sense of connection to that which has an infinite number of names? We are multi-denominational on this show. We recognize and respect all faiths, all religions, all spiritual practices. And some people's spiritual practice is playing a musical instrument or doing martial arts. There are many ways that we can feel connected to divinity. And I am grateful to introduce you to 3 of my favorite people who are very connected to divinity in wonderful ways. My co-host for the weekend is Tangela, and she is, of course, the creator of Soul Search, among many, many other accomplishments. She is a dynamo. This woman is amazing. And so we're going to learn a little bit about Tangela's various spiritual practices. Tangela has an amazing background. She was raised Islamic, lived in New Orleans, has studied Hinduism, has studied Christianity, has studied New Thought. So we're going to hear all about that. And Tangela, I'm really looking forward to you sharing kind of your diverse spiritual backgrounds.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. And hello to everyone. Good morning. And it's just amazing to be joining everyone for this Sacred Sunday. beautiful, just feeling gathering of everyone's souls here together and bringing all of these energies. And I'm just really excited to share with all of you how we can continue to deepen our connection to the divine and to one another. So thanks so much, Scott, and thanks everyone.
And Tenjil, I'm bringing on your one of your key soul search people
Yes.
that I know you really admire. Tell us a little bit about Melissa.
Sure. Well, so I am really honored and blessed to be able to introduce Melissa Fike as an incredible healer, incredible platinum member of Soul Search, and of course, my dear friend, mentor, guide, and teacher herself. And Melissa Fike, she is so humble and so down to earth. You would just meeting her never even know what an incredible powerhouse she is as a spiritual teacher and as a spiritual leader. She is a writer and advanced intuitive. She leads metaphysical workshops. She has an incredible dream alchemy workshop coming up. She leads spiritual retreats and really supports people with a path to their authentic self through her healing work. She is the best-selling author of A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life, Raise Your Vibration. And she's also the creator of Activating Ascension classes and her Akashic Records certification program, which is taught through her Spiritual Expansion Academy. And I'm just excited for you guys to get to know Melissa and her work with the Akashic Records, which I'll let her speak to you about it, but it is so much more than what we really view when we think of Akashic Records. It's really at the quantum level, working with your soul and working with the higher powers on so many different levels. And Melissa is also an incredible channel as well, which we'll get to experience. So thanks, Melissa, for joining us. I'm so excited to have your goddess self with us today. Thank you.
You're so sweet. You're making me teary-eyed, I have to be honest. I appreciate how beautiful you're talking about me. It just kind of does make me feel a little uncomfortable, but it's good. It's good. It's a good uncomfortable.
Breathe.
I appreciate you all.
Breathe it in. Breathe it in.
I know. Well, it's I'm here for service. And I always know what's in divine alignment always comes through. So I always trust in that, like the people who are really meant to work with me, to connect with me, they just find their way because I'm here to serve them and they feel it and they know it. And that's what matters the most, is that the service aspect.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, speaking of service and speaking of different spiritual practice, our other wonderful person who's with us is the house musician for the Global Peace Tribe, Omashar, coming to us from Colorado today. He's off to England next week. Yes. And Omashar is a wonderful example of spiritual practice through music, and he's going to be blessing us today with a few musical numbers. So welcome, Omashar.
So namaste and welcome to Sacred Sunday, all of us. Yay. Looking forward.
And I want to, again, just acknowledge we've got people from all over the world. I'm looking here in Unify. We've got about 50 people coming to us from Unify, from India, New York, Nevada, Sweden, Finland. And then in our Zoom room, we've got people, Wanda from Texas, of course, Omashar from Colorado. Tangela and I are here in California. And of course, Leaf, who's always with us from California, and Christine from British Columbia, all over the world. Irina from Ecuador. It's really wonderful that we can really acknowledge we are the Global Peace Tribe, and we are all coming together to learn, to grow, to support each other. And one of the things we like to do on the Sacred Sunday show is start off with a meditation. And we are blessed to have a wonderful meditation teacher channel in Melissa. And she's agreed to today's meditation. So, Melissa, I know that you never know quite what's going to come through because you're our channel. Tell us a little bit about that, and then you can take it away.
I channel for my meditations. I've been doing it for so long that it just becomes part of the energy that comes through. But I really channel for the group. So whether what they tell me is no matter where you are, what time or space that you're listening to the meditations, you're experiencing exactly what you should be experiencing, and it is for you specifically. So no matter what is going on, what I'm talking about or what they're bringing through, energetically, it's really divinely purposeful in the energetics that come through. And because of that, it's purely channeled. So I never quite know what they're going to do. But I should ask, what's my time frame? So I'm conscious of that a little bit.
Oh, sure. Like 5 to 7 minutes.
Perfect.
And just so you know, let's the moment you finish, Melissa, I'll go straight into the music. Let's do that without a break, so we can just take it full into the full depth if that works for you.
Beautiful. Perfect. So I do the meditation first and then the music, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone just take a moment and close your eyes and be aware of your center, meaning outside of the mind, bringing your awareness from the forefront of the thinking mind into the heart, recognizing your heart space, recognizing the oneness within you. And just take a moment, and in that awareness of heart, just allow yourself to breathe through your heart space. When you bring your full awareness to your heart, you come to the awareness of who you are on a multidimensional level. We also want to acknowledge all of your own specific guides, masters, and energy systems, whether they be galactic, family, but the connection that you have. We want you to recognize your connection. We ask that you bring your awareness to that ultimate energy of all that you are. From your heart, expanding your awareness. When you expand your awareness, you become less focused on the duality of the world. And although it's fine to navigate your world through the duality, we also ask that you expand through your heart into the oneness, into the energy connection of all that you are through divine love. We are also going to connect you to your own divine purpose. That doesn't mean external purpose of what you do in this world. It's the purpose that you came here for. It is so multi-layered. There are times you are unaware of it, that what you are experiencing in the moment is part of your awareness and purpose. As we move into the new divine awakening, there is a movement from old paradigm into new. And just be expanded into that and surrender and flow with that energy. Flowing into the oneness. Flowing into the new experience. And because it feels so different than what you've known in the duality. There are times you are unsure. And the moment that you're unsure, just flow. Flow through the heart. Flow and open to the divine within you. And recognize your own empowerment through that. Nothing in the duality can hold you back from who you truly, truly are. And stay in your heart and recognize you are the divine essence. And open your heart just a little more to that energy. And as we recognize this divine self, there's also a little bit of weaving of energy of your own energy field. And this weaving pattern, and you don't have to think about it or try to figure it out or even know what it is. We are doing this for you, no matter where you are. We are weaving in the energy of divine love for you. You will need this moving forward. You will need this for your own awakening and for your own movement and mission. We honor you for being here at this time, for this is the beauty of the new paradigm. And you are embodying that as we weave this energy. Just surrender and flow. That is your theme for the next month. Letting go of the things that no longer serve you. Let them dissipate and flow forward into your divine essence. Much love.
When there's nowhere left to turn, and you're feeling kind of low, slow down, and breathe me in. and you're driven to your knees. Slow down, slow down, and breathe me in. I am watching you, waiting for you to let my love into that lonely life of yours. Listen to me, and we can be together free eternally. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 When you're feeling out of touch, and you need someone to hold, slow down, and breathe me in. Slow down, and breathe me in.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you, Omashar. While Omashar was playing, I did a little scan of some of our Facebook pages. We have people watching from Germany, UK, Slovenia, India, all over the United States, all over Canada. And so it's really quite wonderful to have this incredible, great, beautiful global peace tribe. And continue to let us know, everybody, where you're from geographically, and what are your spiritual practices? What are your ways of cultivating greater faith in life? And I'm going to start by going to my wonderful host. I love when Tangela is on the show. Tangela, tell us, you've had such a fascinating life of diversity, of spiritual practice. What have you experienced, and what have you observed, and how have you integrated that?
Well, thanks, Scott. Yes, I definitely have had quite a diverse life when it comes to spiritual practice. First, as you mentioned, I was raised, within the Islamic religion, and with the practices that we have within that faith, which is prayer, um, chanting, reciting of holy scripture in Arabic, and what I didn't realize what we were doing at the time, meditation is a very big part of that. And really to be focusing on these divine names from the Arabic tradition, each word has a power, and the sound and the resonance has a power as well. And so as I moved more into the mystical Islamic traditions of Sufism, it was really amazing to be able to expand upon my practices that I'd grown up with within the Orthodox faith of reading the Quran and Quranic recitation and prayer 5 times a day, but then really being delving into the mysticism of the music, the mysticism and the power of the sound, the mysticism and the power of the names of the divine that come from this ancient language and this ancient tradition. And so really being able to begin to immerse myself into the meditative aspects of the power of this tradition. And then as I did that, really to begin connecting to the resonance and the similarities of the meditative practices and the chants and the mantras of many other traditions. And so it's just been a really amazing experience for me as I then moved into mysticism and universal Sufism to begin connecting with practice and chanting and meditative practices from the Gnostic traditions, from Kabbalah, from the Vedic traditions, and seeing, that there's so many different pathways to the same place. And depending on the culture, depending on the country, depending on the time in history, it's different for everyone. It's different for everyone as individuals, but that power and the resonance that comes from that silence and connection to the divine in whatever way we're calling that name, source, universe, Allah, God, and connecting to the masters, whether it's Krishna and Radha or Buddha and Tara or Zoroaster or Prophet Muhammad and Khadijah or Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. It's again to begin that expansion of connection beyond the rigidities of the faiths that we have been brought up within society, and then to begin making those universal connections from the heart. So it's been an incredible journey for me to be doing that. And then to be at this place now where I just love delving into practices from every tradition, and also seeing how we continue now to create our own practices as individuals and as a community, and how meditation like Melissa's opens us up to the one universal heart and that cosmic connection so fully. And then Omashar's music taking us into that connection even more deeply. So it's just incredible us, my own journey of this religious practice to spiritual practice, diving into the mystical one heart of the universe, and then being able to continue that expansion. And it's just something I'm so excited about for all of us, as we are able to free ourselves from the shackles of what we're told or taught we should do and shouldn't do, and then really just like delve into that divine cosmic union.
Beautiful. Of course, we're going to hear from Omashar and Melissa in a moment, but I'd love to ask you, how do you manage, because I know you have a conservative family that are still Islamic, how do you manage your expansion of thinking and your expansion of understanding when perhaps your family wonders or challenges? How do you manage that? Because that's a common challenge for many of our people watching.
It is a common challenge. And I think it's something that, all of us continue to navigate, whether it's within the family or within, our workplace or within our neighborhoods or just even with our friends group. I mean, a lot of times when we're moving into this level of expansion, where we're really releasing these connections to not heart connections, but just the connections of how we were taught we are supposed to be, and how we're those rules and regulations around our life, which is what many of us were taught is what actual spirituality is. We were taught that, in order to be a good Muslim, you need to be this way, you need to do this, you need to pray this way, you need to wear this, you can't do these things. And, as we expand, we begin to realize, listen, this is not about what I should do and shouldn't do, but this is just about being. And that's really difficult for a lot of people to understand. And it is a challenge because not everyone really understands what is this new age way of thinking and being that you're coming at. And for me, it is really about relaxing into the beingness of it all, because that is all we have. We just have our connection to our universal cosmic heart, our universal cosmic selves. And just as we more and more relax into that cosmic heart, we can then begin to exude that energy and that love and that light, that divinity who we truly are. And as people begin to see that, I think, they may question, but at the same time, they're like, wow, there's a peace that you have, or there's a light that you have, or there's, yeah, I don't understand what you're doing, but there seems to be something that you have, that you're at peace with what you're doing. And I think that's the most important thing, is for me, is to really be firm and relaxed into the divinity that I am, and connecting with that in every moment, rather than being concerned or rattled by what other people are thinking about who I am and what I'm doing, because everyone is always going to have an opinion. Everyone is coming from their, we live in a world with 10 billion worlds. Everyone has their own world that they're coming from. And it's not my job to change anyone's world, but it's my excitement and celebration that I get to continue expanding my world in every moment. And so that's the way that I look at it and I approach it. And as we more and more of us celebrate in this expansion together, I just hope that we can continue to come together in oneness, and leave more and more of that judgment behind.
Beautiful. Well, of course, we're going to hear from Melissa and Omar Shah, but I want to read some of the comments that are coming in from our friends around the world. And one of the things that took place that was interesting, Carolyn, I'm reading comments right now from our friends that are watching on Unify. And Carolyn wrote, wow, I just turned on my phone and out of nowhere, my spirit guide directed me to this program. And her spirit guide's name is Zion. And Carolyn continues to share a little bit about herself. I'm a healer and energy worker. I specialize in opening and cleansing chakras. I also come out and remove attachments and demonic spirits for others. And then a message for you, Melissa. She says, thank you for that light and energy transfer. I really needed it, and I'm sending back all the love and positive energy that I can to you guys. So that's beautiful. Also reading a couple more comments from friends on Unify. Jesse Hadlick writes, I call my higher self creator prayer. And through meditation and grace are always the ways that I stay connected. Connie on Unify writes, I'm from California and I'm a practicing angelic healer. It has been quite a beautiful journey from childhood to today. Thank you so much for this live feed. I feel so connected with the light of what you're sharing. And then Sherry, also on Unify, writes, a big part of my spiritual practice is practicing relating to the soul of everything from my mind to my organs, computer, food, even challenging people. So that's beautiful, Sherry. Thank you. And continue to give us those comments, and I'll be reading them. I do want to read a couple from our friends that are right here in our Zoom room. Deborah writes, I've been teaching spiritual diversity in education in the schools to open the conversation to students, staff, administrators, parents, and all community stakeholders in order to make this a part of the educational system. God bless you, Deborah. That is beautiful. She continues to say, just as we now support the physical, mental, and emotional growth, we add the spiritual nature of the human being. Wanda, one of our regulars from Texas, writes, the only life we can live is our own. We can control and be responsible for our own happiness or not. Christine, another regular, writes, I choose to pause, believe, and receive God's love every day. Beautiful, beautiful. And then finally, Joseph in the Zoom room writes, I connect as a naturalist. In nature, I see and feel the Creator and feel being a part of it all. Thank you, Joseph. So continue to give us those comments and any questions that come in. We're going to make it very interactive. And what stands out for you, Tangela, from what you just heard?
Well, I mean, I also really agree with this connection to nature, just in terms of my own spiritual practice and having that connection to all there is, because, when we feel the expansiveness of all there is, when connecting with the red rocks of Sedona, or the mountains, or the beautiful, trees and mountains here in California and Marin, or in Sonoma. It's just, you realize that there's so much more than anything we could ever imagine from the creation of all of these miracles. So I also really, really resonate with that. And Deborah, I think that's beautiful that you're teaching the spiritual diversity in education, because that is just so important, and that's so needed at every level, for people to really, for children to start, from a very young age, seeing that, oh, wow, there is a diversity in this way to connect, and way to practice, and way to believe. So very, very beautiful. Thank you for sharing, everyone.
Melissa, I've added you
practices as well.
Melissa, I've added you, so you're on camera now. Everybody sees you. And there's a wonderful comment from Dia, and then I'm going to put the full spotlight on you because we want to hear from you about your spiritual evolution. But Dia in our chat box writes, Melissa, my whole body was alive, vibrating, attentive, and involved fully in the light and energy, out of body infusion. Your meditation was so clear and pure. Namaste. So thank you, Dia, for writing that comment. And Melissa, I'd love to hear from you now.
Yeah, about how we are all navigating this world right now. There are so many beliefs that are being bombarded toward us through so many means, and religion is one of them. And it's also beliefs around how society should or shouldn't be, or how we're supposed to react to certain situations or not. And that I find is difficult for a lot of people who are starting to wake up, because they're trying to pull these old belief systems and try to fit them into what they now understand in their own world. And what I'm hearing is that you're not going to get it right or wrong. And that's where the biggest lesson for me has been over the years, is there is no right and wrong. And it's difficult to recognize that, because we're in a time where there's so much duality, and it's really hitting us very hard. And as we're navigating that, we have to recognize, who am I being through this? And Tangela brought up that beautiful point of, it's not about what you're doing in your world, it's really about who you're being. And you can't change who everyone else is being. But because we're in a time of such a interesting transition, I've been doing spiritual work pretty much. I've been interested in humans my whole life. I was able to do a lot of dream work when I was very, very young. I've also been very connected through Catholicism a little bit. But one thing about Catholicism is most Catholics, I'm recovering Catholic kind of, they're more open, because there's not as much, there's a lot of ritual, but you're not told to think one way. At least I wasn't brought up that way. And my mother actually told me to question things, that and I liked that helped me a lot, because I did through my life. But I really believe that we are just in such a tumultuous time, but it's really the chaos of the old energy trying to bring itself forward. But that's not where we are really to focus as spiritual beings. It's really about, what is the heart saying? What are you communicating with others? And what's the energy you're bringing forward in that communication? And we're moving from, if you study the law of one, they talk a lot about like moving from that third chakra into the heart chakra. And that heart chakra is really difficult, because we were not taught to live from our heart. We were taught to live from our mind. Most people that I know of, and I have clients from all over the world, they're very driven from the thought process, and getting into the heart is a little bit more uncomfortable for them. And we need to move from those beliefs that we have into the heart and start asking ourselves, what is my heart saying right now? What is my heart bringing forward? Who am I being in this moment? What's my, the whole thing is like raise your vibration, and that's great. And I do talk about raising your vibration, but it's not about raising your vibration through doing something. It's about raising your vibration through being. And being the frequency of love is really the highest vibration that we really have. So yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make sure I gave space for everyone to really be in that moment of that's who you are.
Thank you. And I think the journey from head to heart is absolutely the journey that so many of us are on. I'll bring Tangela onto, and I'll actually share a story since we're kind of sharing about it ourselves. And I haven't shared this story, I think, on any of my Global Peace Tribe announcements or shows, I should say. So I was always a very type A personality. By the time I was 21 years old, I had 85 employees working for me. I was very type A, trying to change the world. And when I was around 30, a group of us went out to the Hopi Indian Reservation where we met with a beautiful native teacher named Grandfather David, who ended up becoming one of the most important teachers of my life. And we went out on an Easter Sunday. And as an Easter Sunday gift, recognizing that most of us were from the Christian tradition, Grandfather did a whole ceremony to tune in and give each of us our Native American name. And there were about a dozen of us. And somebody's going to need to mute because we're getting feedback, by the way. So if people could mute, that'd be great. So here we are. We're, having an Easter Sunday. Grandfather's giving people Native American names. I remember my girlfriend's name was beautiful. She got Woman Who Walks Gently in Two Worlds. And I was the last person that he gave a name to. And I'm really ready for something really cool, and he looks at me and he channels. And my Native American name was Man Who Thinks Too Much. And of course, he was absolutely right because I was totally in my head. And I was so embarrassed. Oh my God. And my girlfriend never let me. I mean, any time after that, it was like, there you go, man who thinks too much, man who thinks too much. But it was a bust that was a beautiful bust because it really helped me to be in awareness of that. Many years went by. We went and visited Grandfather several other times. And then finally the word came out that Grandfather was getting ready to leave his body. And so we went out to see him one last time. And as I was with him, I shared with him, the story and how that had impacted me. And I appreciated him for it. And I had this moment with him then. He takes me by the hand and he looks me in the eye. And he goes, son, your journey in life is to go from man who thinks too much to man who loves well. And literally it was like life, God, whatever you want to call it, came through him in that moment and delivered what truly has been the journey of my life. And it continues to be because my practice has been, how can I love well? How can I go from this to this? So thank you, Melissa, for what you shared, because that kind of inspired me to share this story. And for all of us, it's a journey because we live in a world that is so mental and there's so many distractions and so much going on in the world. And it is a journey into the heart. So I'd love to hear what Tangela or Melissa have to say in terms of your journey around that. And likewise, I'll take a look at what comments are going to come in. I'm going to take myself off camera and take a look at what's going on our Facebook pages on that particular topic.
Scott, I
Tangela?
completely agree and resonate with you. I may also be called the woman who thinks too much. Because we're building and we're creating, and we're doing so much in the world. And it is, like Melissa said, we are trained to be living from our minds. What is the next step? What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? How am I going to make that happen? And what are the next steps? And that's great. Of course, there's a place for all of that, but it's really been my personal journey as well. How do I, stop, this thinking, this nonstop moving mind, and really drop into the heart, so that I'm creating from this place of one love and really being from that place of one love. So what you said, really resonates with me, and it's still my practice to this day. My daily practice, my moment to moment practice is, how can I be of the most love in every moment? How can I bring the most love in every moment? But for me to get to this moment of that practice, it's been shedding layers and layers and layers of who I thought I needed to be in every moment, which was told to me by my culture or my religion or family or society. And really to begin, step by step, quieting those directions that are really part of my consciousness, and just really dropping into my heart and letting who I really am, and the essence of who I am, to come forth and come through. And that has been a journey, and that has been a huge practice. And it's something I've actually worked with Melissa on quite a bit. And it's also part of my journey here with Soul Search, just to, to birth this platform and birth this community, not from a place of, oh, I'm building this technology platform, these are the next steps, but really coming from the place of the heart of, where are we right now as a global community? Where are we right now in terms of spiritual awakening? And who am I, and what am I bringing forth from the depths of my heart and the depths of who I am? And it's just a completely different way of being in the world. And I have to say to everyone, it's not necessarily the easiest, because we're not trained to be that way. We're not trained to live from our heart. We're not trained to be from our heart. But that's where we're at now with this new Aquarian age, where we're really being called, and and the universe is asking, who are you? Who are you, in the essence of who you are? And are you going to bring that forth? So it's really a beautiful moment that we're in, where we're all able to come together now in community, like here at the Global Peace Tribe, to resonate with one another at that heart level and bring forth that true essence, so we can really begin to live from our heart with that bravery and courage and unconditional love, which we've been trained not to do. So we're really at a turning point, and I'm at a turning point. So thank you.
Humanity is at a turning point.
Yeah.
We have to radically change our consciousness, because humanity has been, especially Western civilization, has been creating an unsustainable world. And it's showing up in 100 different ways, certainly through the climate and the environment and economics and all of that. So we all have to make this big shift from our head to our heart. And so I'm going to bring on Amishar to hear your thoughts about this. Amishar?
Yes, well, I don't know if I have any thoughts about it. Well, I do. What I know about people who have people who think too much, who are connected to their heart, they are very eloquent. Like, for instance, Tangela and Melissa and you, Scott, you're so eloquent in speaking about the change that's happening within you. And I kind of envy that. It's I come from a really stiff upper lip Brit background with Victorian principles, and holy smoke, what a thing to rise through. And but I'm so committed to the path that I can let it go, because within the path, you don't have any beliefs anymore. You're just becoming. And there's something, I think, Kristen, maybe in the chat box, if things overwhelm me too much, what she said was she goes out into nature, lays down on the earth, waits for mother to fill her up, and then come back into the world again. And I do have a couple of points to try and make this really small. My mother is on the edge of her life, and I've been visiting England a lot and seeing her, and I've been expanding in my consciousness so much. And there's been an ego fight that's been happening. And as I expand on my consciousness and I see everything from a greater perspective, I automatically imagine that other people are in that same space. And that is a big chagrin, because I just went onto the online and looked at the world population clock, 7.96 billion souls on Earth right now. 81 million people per year are expanding. The point of saying that is that there are 7.96 billion perspectives who are equal and relevant and sovereign. And so my perspective, really, you cannot really share your perspective, because what's emerging is the divine consciousness. And the divine consciousness has 7.96 billion expressions, and they're all unique and individual. And so every time to sum this up, my mother is my biggest trigger in my life. Holy smoke. You know, she might as well have sat with Queen Victoria and said, "I'm not amused." And it's initially when I was triggered, I go ballistic. I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, I was at a fairground with my mum, and she wanted to take a cutesy photo in front of some kids thing. I went spastic, and I had a human moment. And then afterwards, I was so embarrassed, because it was like I was 3 and I was having this tantrum. But all these reflections have got me to see what is my divine self and what is my ego self, and what is the past trying to cling to the future, which doesn't and won't exist, because we're coming into the now. And okay, I'm kind of I'm not losing track here, but I just want to make it short. So my 2 things are, if I get too lost and out of the world, I have this little chart, which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and it says no criticism, no judgment, no condemnation, no blame or gossip. And so if any of my thought forms towards myself or towards anybody else have any of those elements in it, I have to just shut up, or kindly pat myself on my head and love myself into silence, go and hug a tree, get fully grounded and connected again, then come back to the situation with divine consciousness, not the old ego, which is so freaked out about what's happening, because, you know, everything is crumbling. Most people will not like to hear this, but everything is crumbling. And as we stand up and sovereign and connect and find the other people who are connected to our hearts, who are building this, let's say, new reality from our heart space, which is basically divine consciousness, extending out through us, you know, then the world will change. Because I've cut myself off 100% from all media, because I was addicted to it. 2 years ago, I go to bed and I'd look at the news. It's like, really? And so now nothing. And it's a little scary, because I feel like, what am I missing? But I'm missing nothing, because as I do my meditations each day and with my nature each day, I find spirit infilling every cell of my body, and I'm finding a new sovereignty happening. And it's not always something that you can share, except in a format like this. So there we are. Namaste. Love you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. There's some really wonderful comments coming in the Zoom room, coming in through Facebook. So thank you so much for those comments. And I realize, we're talking a lot about soul search, but some of you don't know what soul search is. And so I'm going to play a short, lovely video narrated by a wonderful woman. And then Sheila and Melissa maybe can tell us a little bit more about soul search. Here we go.
During these extraordinary times, are you seeking friends and collaborators, like-minded, brilliant, beautiful souls who want to be a part of creating the new earth? Here is the answer. Welcome to Soul Search. Soul Search is the high-frequency global online destination for spirituality and consciousness, where people from around the globe like you come together for spiritual exploration. This is a multi-dimensional community for spiritual seekers, healers, teachers, and guides for the global awakening. With Soul Search, the spiritual seeker can easily search for and connect with healing modalities, spiritual teachings, practices, and practitioners. You can explore high vibrational online and in-person spiritual events across the globe. Within the Soul Search community, you can join groups or take courses for your spiritual journey. With Soul Search, you are part of an inclusive, growing global community for consciousness. For spiritually conscious practitioners, Soul Search connects you to a global audience seeking your services. Build your credibility with a robust profile that demonstrates your expertise and experience. Post client reviews, articles, videos, photos, and audio. You can create secure and private online communities for your groups and clients. Be a part of an awakening community for spirituality where you can collaborate and connect with practitioners and seekers. Whether you are a spiritual seeker, healer, or just curious, join soulsearch.io today. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of our high vibrational community for the global awakening. We're excited to be connecting with your soul and radiant light.
Wow. It's such, and by the way, of course, people who watch the show know that we're doing a big ongoing collaboration between Global Peace Tribe and Soul Search. And we're going to be helping to launch her TV platform, maybe do some shows together, give her content. I've hosted 400 plus shows, online shows since the pandemic began. So we've got a lot of content to share with you. But thank you so much for creating Soul Search and this amazing opportunity so we can meet people like Melissa. You're muted, Tangela.
There you go. So thank you, Scott. Thanks so much. And we're just so excited to be collaborating with Global Peace Tribe because, obviously, through the pandemic, Scott, you and Deborah have brought together people from all over the world to connect in community when everyone was physically separate from one another, and to really be able to build that community, build those connections, connect to spiritual teachers and leaders and teachings, and music. And it's just been incredible. And, I see Soul Search as really just being able to continue in that. We're no longer in the pandemic and we're able to connect personally now, thank goodness. But, there are people all over the world that really don't have access to in-person community or to these healers and practitioners or to these, different types of universal practices and experiences, or really even exploring the multidimensional realms. And so we are here to really expand this world wide open to everyone, wherever they may be, so they can connect with incredible healers and practitioners like Melissa, wherever they're sitting. And I know Melissa already works with her clients worldwide, but, and she's been online as a spiritual teacher and practitioner with her academy and her courses for a very long time because she was guided to. But Melissa, I'd love to just, hear your thoughts about Soul Search, your own teachings and your own, bringing your teachings and building spiritual community online and where we are in the world today and Soul Search as part of that as well.
Yeah, Soul Search. So we met in Sedona. And as soon as you started to talk to me about Soul Search, I read energy and I was watching it. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, wow. I go, this is huge. You're like, I know. I'm like, okay, well, good. I'm glad you know. And I was like, I'm in whatever you need. I'll be there. And I was pretty much there from the beginning. I put up my profile, or you helped me with that. And then also, you would talk about platinum. I was like right in, because really, this is really about people, what the new earth is really about. In my perspective, it's all about collaboration, connection, and really recognizing that we are spiritual beings. And that's what Soul Search brings forward. It's a platform just for spiritual people. And I love the community aspect, because when you go onto those bigger community platforms, not everyone gets it. And not what everyone's looking for connection with spiritual people. And so Soul Search does that specifically. So if you are looking to connect with a community just of spiritual people, of really amazing spiritual people, I know a lot of people from Soul Search, and wow, they are powerful healers and intuitives. So yeah, I'm grateful to be part of it in any way. And I support you, Tangelo, 100%.
Thank you, Melissa. And I think it's great just building this community together, because I think so important part of this new age that we're moving into, this global awakening, is actually the awakening of our own divine connection and our own divine gifts and our own supernatural capabilities that we've actually had and held for so long, for eons, and we've just forgotten and been disconnected. Melissa has a great group on Soul Search called Psychics in Training, and she has been helping people develop their intuitive capabilities for a long time. And that's something that we all have. And I think that's what's incredible too, is, people around the world, one, are not even familiar with a lot of the modalities that Melissa and the other incredible practitioners on our platform practice, and what they can do and how they can help open us up. But at the same time, they also may be disconnected from, we're also disconnected from our own gifts. Even me, like living in Sedona, before I got to Sedona, I was always very spiritual, but I didn't really see myself as a healer or as someone with these gifts. That's Melissa, or that's Dave, or that's these other incredible people that I know and I'm friends with. But once I started working with Melissa and many of the other people on the platform, I started tapping into my own gifts, my own connections, and realizing that there's so much more that I would like to bring forth into the world. So it's just a constant exploration process. And when we have community and people to do that with, it really opens up a whole new world.
I'm going to bring Omashar back on, because as I was reading comments, a lot of comments are coming in on Facebook today and on our Zoom room. And for you, Omashar, let me actually go back to the Unify page. So from our friends on Unify, here are some of the comments that are coming in. Dear Omashar, this is from Sherry Freed. Thank you for your comments. For me, I am committed going straight to forgiveness as soon as I notice negative thoughts, words, or actions towards others. I remind myself of my beliefs in karma, which is that there is nothing in my life that I haven't created through lifetimes, and that whatever is coming my way, I've probably sent the same to others in the past. So thank you for that. That's very humble and very vulnerable. And then Jesse writes, Omashar, could you write those things that you mentioned on the list in the chat box? So
Yes,
if you
I
put
will
that in
put
the
them in
Zoom,
there. Yes. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
put them in the
yes.
Zoom chat box, and then I'll copy it and put it into the Unify Facebook chat
Awesome. Yeah,
box.
it is. It's a constant weeding. I remember about 8 or 9 years ago, and I was listening to some podcast or whatever, and I realized in that moment that the true I, has to police every thought, every emotion, every action that I put out there, because we are creator beings. Whatever we put out will at some time, in some form, return. And so that makes me 100% responsible for everything, including every single thought. And most of my thoughts are on rote, WROTE, from the past. And so none of them really matter anymore. So thank you for that. And I'll put into the chat box that list, which I've just packed away. All right, there we go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to I'm going to read briefly a wonderful comment that came in. It's actually a prayer. This is in our Zoom room from Christine Glenn, and it's the Lady's Prayer by Richard Rudd. Our Lady, who lives at the heart of all form, hallowed be thy name. May thy queendom come, may thy will be done, that heaven may come to earth. Please allow me this day to drink from your sacred silver spring, and forgive me my forgetting, as I learn through your grace to return all non-love with love. And take me by the hand and lead me step by step into the patient valley of your heart. For yours is the earth, my body, and my life, forever and ever and ever. Amen. Isn't that a wonderful reframe of the prayer that many of us grew up with, which was pretty masculine dominant? So I love that
So
beautiful,
beautiful.
divine, feminine reframe.
Beautiful.
Yeah? How's that strike you, Tangela?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. May thy queendom come, may thy will be done. So It's amazing for us to, as we return to the divine feminine, to begin a re-remembrance of a lot of these, traditions, but coming in with that divine feminine energy and power really is beautiful. And for me, I love it. I love it because after having always heard everything from the masculine, it's just like, yes, let's let the divine feminine come through.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of the awakening world is for us to really let the divine feminine lead. And I'm a strong believer that when anybody, regardless of gender, is tapped into their divine feminine, that's where spirit flows through. The divine masculine's job is to make it safe for the divine feminine to bring through new life, to bring through a child, to bring through God, to bring through Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's our job as the divine masculine. And all of us, regardless of gender, have a masculine and a feminine within us. So very, very, very beautiful. Dia is writing, by the way, that was not the reframe. It is much more of the original Aramaic prayer. So thank you, Dia, for pointing that out. That's a good point. So thank you very, very much. We're going to hear more from Melissa in just a moment, so get ready, Melissa. But Dia in the chat box writes, Scott, you invited us to share our practices. I'm very involved with Shri and Kira in Ecuador. We've had them on Global Peace Tribe shows before. They are at Tosa, which is the Temple of Self-Ascension in Blue Mountain. Oh, and Chief Phil will be there in September. We'll have to create a time to do a live broadcast with you all in Ecuador when Chief Phil is there. Let's coordinate on that, Dia. Anyway, you'll be there to dedicate the first 12 global peace pyramids. So that's beautiful. Dia, let's really work on collaborating and creating a connection with that. So, all right, I'm going to bring back on Tangela and Melissa because we want to hear a little bit more about Melissa's work.
Yes, thanks, Melissa. I'd love for you to share with everyone just about your work with the Akashic Records, but really beyond.
Yeah. So really what I do is I really want to support people in becoming who they truly are and focus on what they're here to do. It's more about like what is your kind of your mission, but bigger than that, it's letting go of your past so that you can be all that you are. And we can't drag our past energy with us. And I do work a lot with helping people recognize the difference between their egoic voice and their intuition. I also have my book, A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life and Raise Your Vibration. That book was channeled to me. I actually had a full immediate channel of the whole energy of it and everything that needed to be in the book, all like within like a second, it felt like. And I literally like wrote everything down really, really fast. It's kind of an outline and started teaching it immediately because what they said was we are past the time of looking at one thing at a time, that we really need to look at patterns. And this was about 5 or 6 years ago that it was downloaded. And they said we really need patterns because in order to transcend the duality and the egoic experiences of this lifetime, we need to bring forward the bigger patterns and transcend those quickly. We're moving into that time where it's space and time is going to be very different, is what they said. And so we need to accelerate our healing. And since then, I've noticed more and more people are talking about patterns. And that is exciting because, of course, when one person gets a message, many get the message, right? It's not like my message, it's all of our messages. And that's important to share. And I was really called to do a dream alchemy class, and that's pretty exciting for me because it's been a while. I've taught intuitive development for a very long time, and dreams have always been part of that. But they made it really clear that we can really accelerate a lot of our awakening through our dream state. And this is something I've known for a long time and I've worked with, so that's exciting for me. And honestly, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just trying to navigate this world as best as possible. And I honor everyone who's on the path. And I want to support people through my podcast or through videos that I do, my classes. So, yeah, that's me. You're muted, huh?
Thanks, Melissa. And for those who may not be familiar, would you just maybe explain, what are the Akashic records? And then also, what are the Akashic records as people may generally think about it? And then how do you actually work with the Akashic records?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So really the Akashic records are on many levels. Most people don't realize that. They think that the Akashic records are one energy system, but they're actually Akashic records for the Earth. They're Akashic records for our galaxy. They're Akashic records for each race in the world. There's a plethora of information. And what happened was I was brought to the quantum field, and what they said was this holds all the frequencies of all the records of this experience. So there are others beyond kind of our own comprehension, and I see them. I see the shadows of them, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But for us who are experiencing in this experiential multidimensional energy, and all the beings connected to it as well, there are Akashic records connected to them as well. And what they've shown me is that we are here to transcend, because we're going to unwind all these old energy karmic belief systems that we've had in the past. And in order for us to accelerate the awakening or the new earth or the new paradigm, whichever wording you use, we are here to accelerate our own individual energy systems. And that's really important. So it's not about the past lives that you've lived, which is what most people think about in the Akashic records. And I actually have many memories of lifetimes, not just on this planetary system. So because of that, it's almost like silly to look at one lifetime. I'm like, most people who are here on the earth have had thousands of experiences, if not more. And if we went lifetime to lifetime, we'd be exhausted trying to transcend all of that. So it's really time for us to see beyond our lifetimes into the bigger energy of what are we creating. And that's really what the Akashic records want to bring through, is what is the creation right now, and how to really energetically align with that as individuals, because once we get it, then the collective will get it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I just wanted to say thank you, Melissa. And I have also personally worked with Melissa, and it's really been amazing to have that experience working with you. And as we work together, I feel her going into my Akashic records and really being able to see. And so I think, what does that feel like for you? I know, just to share with everyone, that I was going through a lot of heaviness earlier this year, and a lot of, frustrations, personal frustrations and business frustrations. And there was just a huge heaviness weighing on me. And I didn't really, I thought I was doing a lot of spiritual practice, a lot of clearing, and I didn't really know what else was going on. And then working with Melissa, she was able to tap into my records and say, well, you are holding a huge amount of karma, like for your culture. There's so much you have to release for your culture. And as soon as she said that to me, that was like a massive revelation. And we were able to create some really huge shifts. And so what does that look like for you when you're kind of tapping into someone's records, and what are you tapping into? How does that feel? And how do you support that breakthrough that happens, that I experience?
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because everyone's so unique. So it's so different for every single person. And what I've been hearing lately is I really, well, I'll say this. To me, when I'm in there, it's so multidimensional. It's not like one thing happens and then another thing happens. It's almost like happening at the same moment. And when everything starts happening at the same moment in that person's records that I'm reading, I see how their past, present, future is all intertwined. So I see it as an entanglement. That's what I'll call it. That's what I always call it. It's like an entanglement. So there are all these, but there are these little tiny pieces that if we just see that and you acknowledge that, because I don't do the healing. Obviously, the records can't even do the healing. It's about you acknowledging your own part in it, right? And so I'll see that piece and I'll help that person see that piece. And all of a sudden it just starts moving and unwinding. And it's literally like this huge entanglement, like a knot in your necklace that's so difficult to untangle. And then the moment you get to that one piece, it just bursts and shifts. And what I've experienced is that most people who experience this work, they actually see their whole world differently, and it's profound for them, and they change, they become different, which I find is fascinating, because it's almost like all those old energies then are gone, and then they become more of who they truly are, which is really, that's beautiful to watch. And I know that's why I'm here, is to help people recognize themselves.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for helping me in that process. I mean, Melissa's work, Aurora, who's on the chat, and she's actually one of our other beautiful Soul Search healers and members. And platinum members. She says here, Melissa's work has changed my life, and I can say the same thing as well. 100% Melissa's work has changed my life. So thank you, Melissa, so much for being of such great service and so pure in what you're doing and what you're bringing to this earth plane. And I'm just so overjoyed to be your soul sister on this plane and on many planes.
As we
Me
are
too.
singing her praises, let's go to her website. I've put this in the chat box for Facebook and Zoom. And her website is her name, Melissa Fike. That's spelled F-E-I-C-K. Melissa, M-E-L-1-L, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, F-E-I-C-K.com. And there's some really beautiful things on her website. As soon as you open it up, she provides a free meditation. And of course, she did our opening meditation today, and so many people have commented on how they really felt the vibe. And so you can get a free divine meditation just by going to her website and clicking on that little button. So that's a beautiful gift. Thank you, Melissa. And then we were talking about the Akashic Records. So if you go to her tab on Akashic Records, that's where, again, you can learn a little bit more about it and learn about kind of a certification program that she has. And so there's a wonderful way that you can start your journey. So what happens when somebody wants to become a certified Akashic Records coach? Tell us about that, Melissa.
They're actually learning to not just read the records, but heal from the Akashic Records on the quantum field. And that is, and once they do that, they then can get on my website, as long as they have completed a few things. So the certification, they don't just get the information that, of course, is on a particular platform, but they also get calls with me, which is, I follow up with them. I talk to them about what's going on in their life and how to help them navigate their own self and their own records, and then help them with working with other people, because I really want more people to be able to do this work. It is very deep work, but you can do it at any level. And that's what I love about it, because you don't have to go too deep. You can also just read the records. And the records are so vast in information. There's so many beautiful things to experience in the records. And I show you where it is and what to do with them and how to do that work. And I teach them how to get to the quantum field of these particular records, which are all of the accumulation, and how to heal, which is really pretty important, and to help people through navigating their life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then one other thing I wanted to go to is, in addition to the Akashic Records, you also have an event coming up, and I'm going to go to that link. Tell us about the dream creation and alchemy.
Yes, so this is exciting. So I was told by Spirit to do this dream class, and I have a bunch of pre-work. So you already have some things to help you with the class. So how to remember dreams and a few other things. And then in the class itself, we're going to go over dreams, how to read your own dreams, because that's usually people don't understand how to read their dreams, and how to connect with your higher consciousness through your dreams, how to change your dreams, how to work with what your mission is here on your in this lifetime, and how dreams impact your life, and how to lucid dream as well. Your dream state. So this is what has come through to me, and it's a different way of looking at this. So because we're so focused on this world, so many of us, we were brought up like, look at, what's happening each moment. What they told me is if you can work in your dream state very consciously, then you can see the world differently. And if you don't mind, I'll just give you a quick story of that, actually. So I've been working a lot with my dreams over the last couple months, because they've been saying, do your dream work again. And then I was doing a static dance, and I was laying on the rock in Sedona. And I had just this whole visceral experience that nothing matters, nothing's real. And it was so profound for me. And we say those words, but I actually experienced that. And as I was walking back in the pitch black, I mean, Sedona gets pitch black, and had my phone to see because it's not even terrain. I was literally walking. I was like, what world am I walking in? I'm in a dream state, but I'm in this world at the same time. And for a couple days after that, I lived in this whole experience of recognizing that this really is a dream state that we're in. And I lived it. For the first time, I knew that and I understood that, but I lived it. And living that was such a profound experience for me. Yeah, sorry.
No, 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 no. I'm coming in just because I want to comment on what you're saying, but we talked about this last night, actually, on last night's show. Tangela and I and Raquel all talked about how this is ultimately a dream world. And I love that you shared that story, because I've had the experience as well. I've had, without drugs, the experience of experiencing my multidimensional self and realizing, oh my Lord, this is when we die, we wake up. And it's like, oh my God, I just had an earth life. As many of you know, my wife passed away, and we were very close, and I was very connected to her through her process of leaving her body and connecting with her after she was out of her body. And that's everything she said. She said, Earth is beautiful, it's a beautiful experience, and it's a dream. It's this incredible cosmic dream. And that doesn't mean that it isn't important, because we're here on this earth to learn lessons of love. We're here to learn very important lessons of love. So I love that you shared that, Melissa. And I'm going to go one more time to your webpage, and I put the link into the chat box. So this is going to be 2 weeks from today, Sunday, July 17th, which was my mother's birthday, actually. And it's from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. So make a whole day of Sacred Sunday. Come watch the Sacred Sunday show in the morning, have a nice brunch, and then go to Melissa's wonderful Dream Alchemy workshop. And I'm sure there'll be many Global Peace Tribe people there and many Soul Search people there for sure. So that's going to be wonderful. And again, you can find that on her website that I put into the chat box. Anything you want to add, Tangela?
I just want to say this is a beautiful example of, Melissa as a teacher and as a healer showing up and saying, hey, you all can do this too. You want to read the records. I'm here to show you how to do that. And you want to be able to work within your own dream state with dream alchemy. I can support you in doing that. And I think that's what Soul Search is all about too. It's not about us being like, wow, I wish I could do that. I wish I had some, it's about, oh no, I can also do that. I can also tap into my innate abilities and my gifts to be able to navigate this dream state that we are living in this life, and also connect to my my dream state, my lucid dreaming state, as well as connecting to my own records for my own healing and the healing of others. So this is such a powerful example with what Melissa's doing, of how we can work with these beautiful practitioners to continue. It's all about continued connection to ourselves and who we truly are and our essence, and bringing forth our abilities and capabilities. And the more we do that, the more we begin to get in touch with just how multidimensional we as individuals are, as well as our entire world.
I love that you brought that up. And something I try and say every weekend is that some of us are on camera and we're presenting, but everyone watching, whether you're watching the replay, because most of the people watch the replay actually, or whether you're with us live in the Zoom room or on Facebook, everybody is part of this incredible awakening world. And we share these tools, not like, hey, I had this experience, but as inspiration that we all can have these experiences. And so we pick which tools. Is it dream therapy? Is it compassionate communication? Is it yoga? Is it music? There's all these ways that we can awaken, because now is the time. We are waking up as a planet and waking up as a human species. Speaking of awakening, the original plan for today was we were going to show a lengthy segment of the Twin Ray, who have become beloved of the Global Peace Tribe. And you just met the Twin Ray. You were at their temple. Deborah Giusti and I spent a week there in August, and you and Deborah went and visited them. We aren't going to have time for me to show a long segment of the Twin Ray. So what I am going to do is show a short 3-minute video of Shekinah singing, but in the video they've added elements of the Twin Ray, and you'll see images of the temple where Tangela just was, because I do want to talk a little bit about your experience with them. So let's take a look at this beautiful video. Shekinah Ma, one of the Twin Ray, singing this beautiful miracle prayer, and it's a song in Hebrew that she's singing to the children of the world.
So I was here by myself, and I placed my phone down, and I just started to sing. I was singing the voice of the mother to the children, receiving the prayers and sending them right back, sending miracles, consistency. And I was even moved. There's a moment, you'll probably hear it, but I even had tears running down my face during this moment, because the prayers are so significant, and because the suffering is so great right now. And it also connected into when this was written and what was happening at that time. And so this is a transmission. And the miracle here is that the phone just started recording this transmission all on its own. And then when I went back to it after the practice was complete, a couple hours later, there was this long recording of this transmission. And I remember I said, this is a transmission now that needs to be given. Now, this isn't a produced song or video or anything. It's just my singing a cappella in the center, transmitting from my pure heart to the pure heart of the world. And that's what it is.
All right, I'm pulling it up. Of course, the images that were added after she sang that song go back and forth between images of Israel and images of their home temple where you were. So, what was your experience, Tangela, of meeting our beloved twin ray?
Oh God, it was really beautiful. I actually wasn't really that familiar with the Twin Ray. Of course, I had heard about the Twin Ray from both you and Deborah Giusti, but I was not familiar with their teachings or who they are as teachers. So, I was in Mount Shasta, and Deborah, was like, "Hey, let's go meet the Twin Ray," and I said, "Okay, let's do it." So um it was really an incredible experience. I think they are such a beautiful example. We're here every day, and here on the Global Peace Tribe and at Soul Search, we're here talking about the global awakening and creating the new earth, and living in 5D. And what does that really look like? What does that mean? It means really going beyond our our day-to-day paradigms in this moment, and then being able to move into a paradigm of complete connection to oneness, complete connection to the divine, and into a place where we're so connected that we're able to create and manifest from the heart in a multitude of ways. And so, and the reality is that we're now being able to create that. in this day and age, that is what we're doing. That's why we're coming together. And that's why we're coming together to heal and to connect and to bring forth this new earth. And it was just so beautiful to be able to connect with the Twin Ray, just going to their property in Ashland, Oregon. And as soon as you walk in, they have these beautiful gardens and this lavender labyrinth, and the energy and the vibration that they have created there and that is held there is absolutely sublime. And then just being able to connect with them in person in their beautiful temple, that is just, again, so the energetic charge there is so high, and it's so beautiful just because they're holding this resonance of the awakening of the new earth that they're also working to create with all of us. And they're just so profound in their commitment to that it resonates in everything that they say and everything that they do, and in their temple and in their gardens. And it was just beautiful to also hear, the work that they're doing now and how they're looking to continue expanding that through more community connection, through building a community space within Ashland, to be building out their own property to include people to be able to come there and have these connections, and also just the work that we're doing with Soul Search and how we can be collaborating. And I think one of the amazing things that they were talking about is that this online connection is so important because it is this activation that takes place no matter how you're doing it, whether it's through listening to incredible, beautiful spiritual music of Omashar, or tapping into divine love meditation with Melissa, or just watching this program. Having these online connections is an integration into this new world and this new earth. And then having an integration opportunity where you're able to go to a physical location and connect physically with people, whether it's at the Twin Ray property in Ashland, or in Mount Shasta, or in Sedona, on retreat, or in ceremony. Having that opportunity to then connect makes that very visceral and very real, and saying, oh, wow, like this is something that we are creating together. And then there's actually places I can go and people that I can connect with in person to really integrate that into who I am, so that when I go forth, I can continue that activation work again. So they made a beautiful point of activation, integration, activation in this process that we're going through together. And I just love that. And I love that we're all creating this together. And it was really, what a beautiful blessing to be able to be with the Twin Ray.
I'm so delighted because I love who you are and I love them. And I want to say a couple things about the Twin Ray. Um, One of the things that's interesting is some people, when they see them, get turned off, and go, oh, come on, they're all dressed in white and they're so beautiful. There's Jesus and Mary. And people's judgments come up. And I even, when I first saw them, had a little bit of a, oh, come on. I want to say I have been blessed to meet so many spiritual teachers. And I've known Reverend Michael Beckwith since the beginning. I've known Marianne Williamson for 30 years. I've interviewed dozens of best-selling authors. I've sat with gurus in India. I've had a lot of exposure to a lot of spiritually based people. And most of them are wonderful. I want to say most of them are wonderful. The Twin Ray are living in whatever you want to call it, 5D consciousness, heaven on earth consciousness. They are living in that state all the time. I spent a week living with them in their same home where they sleep, and I saw them throughout the day, and they were always in the same vibration of consciousness. And I've gotten to know them really well. They're very generous, always. They're very loving, always. They're very fun and playful, always. And so I often have said I want to be a Twin Ray when I grow up. Because really that level of consciousness that they're in, and they're highly productive. They're not just like hanging out meditating. They are doing a lot. And with all that they're doing, Tangela, and everybody listening, do you know they still text me a few times a day? I mean, a few times a week. They send me audio messages. They still stay so connected. They are the real deal. And so I really want to encourage people, if you want to get on a fast track to higher consciousness, go to twinray.com and start listening to their programs, join their mentorship program. I've joined the mentorship program and I love it. So, and we will have them on the show again frequently throughout the summer, both live and probably some of the video recordings from the past. So, thank you, everybody. We are wrapping up this Sacred Sunday. We went a little bit longer than usual. I'm going to bring Melissa and Omashar on to thank them. And then Omashar, as always, is going to close this out, well, as always, when he's with us, with some music. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today. And it's always a pleasure to get to know you more deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. So wonderful being on here with you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's beautiful.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it's really helpful if you share this out. Let's grow our Global Peace Tribe. So it's easy. Share the Facebook version of the show with your friends. Pop it on your wall. Invite people to register. Invite people to join us next week. Next week's going to be great. We start off Friday night with Raquel Spring, who knocked it out of the park. Everybody had so many questions for her. She's this amazing astrologer, plus just brilliant visionary. She's Tangela and Melissa's soul sister. So she'll be with us on the Friday night edition of The Awakening World. We've got a lot coming on Sacred Sunday, a week from today. We're going to be exploring different understanding of who Yeshua, also known as Jesus, was, including Renee and Anthony. The channels are going to channel Mary Magdalene and Jesus and whomever else with us. So that's going to be a week from today. So we have a lot coming on. Join us. Invite your friends to join us. And I'm going to put the full spotlight on beloved Omashar as he completes our time today with the way that he does so beautifully, with some Omashar music.
Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful energy and love and just bringing everything here today. We're all raising the vibration together. So I just love being here with all of you. Thank you. And thanks, Omashar, for your beautiful music.
I am in such joy at hearing us all. It's like, wow, there's another part of me speaking. Well, there's another part of me speaking, and they can say it in a way that I cannot, but I can understand it. And anyway, this song is called Still, as in being still. We Wonder Why. It's a brand new song, and it's still in process. Hasn't been recorded yet, except for a couple of weeks ago, I did play it on the Sacred Sunday show. We had some internet glitches, and so this is my re-debuting of this song. And let's see how this one goes. Blessings and love. Blessings and love. Okay. Yeah, right. Take two. Brighter than the sun, here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. The footprint in the sand, eyes shining like the stars, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know
to be done. Still, we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place. And still we wonder why life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and the blessing of who we really are can be found throughout our world. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place. And still we wonder why life, a promise to fulfill. Love, the footprint in the sand. And still we wonder why
That's my Sacred Sunday version. I may put some funky beats behind it when I record it, but for now, that was good.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
We love you, Amrishar. Thank you so much.
I love it.
Safe travels to England.
Yes, and with any luck, I'll tune into the next 3 Sacred Sundays from my mother's front room in Stratford-upon-Avon, St. Germain's Town. It's Shakespeare.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That'll be fun. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Tangela, Melissa, and thank you, everybody watching, our beautiful, great Global Peace Tribe. And remember, we can make any moment sacred just by choosing to see divinity. And let's do that this week. Let's practice seeing divinity in nature, divinity in others, divinity within ourselves. Let's all do that together. God's blessings. See you next weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.